What up, what up, what up, Entourage? I hope you guys are liking the new scene we got here, guys. You know, I've been working really hard. That's why I haven't been putting out as much content. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. I'm a one-man army, but this video is probably the most important video I'm doing because it's crazy, guys. The injuries, just COVID, just a lot of weird shit. I mean, week 5, here we are, but it's time to get you guys right. Those of you who are off to a good start, that's amazing, especially with everything that's going on. But those of you who are not off to a good start, I have a feeling things are going to really start turning around. I've seen a lot of your teams, at least the ones in my Facebook group and stuff. So, anyway, guys, let's get into it. The fantasy football Entourage are winning. Well. Hope you guys like my little intro there. So yeah, week 5 waiver targets. But first, I want to go into the games and, you know, what I gather from those games, because I think it's very important, you know, and how it relates to this week's waivers. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of going for the wrong players or giving up on players or chasing points, which is something I talked about in a recent video. So we're going to break down all the games and then I'll tell you who to get. All right, guys? So, starting with Cincinnati and the Jaguars. Okay. So, obviously, Joe Mixon, he's arrived. And it's weird because I see a lot of analysts saying that to sell high. But little do they realize that Jacksonville before this game was actually doing pretty well against running backs. They stopped Derrick Henry. They stopped Jonathan Taylor, who we'll be getting into more. So it's not like Mixon was, you know, facing Carolina or anything like that. I mean, Jacksonville, I'm not going to say it was the most difficult matchup, but they did pretty good against other backs. So I do think Mixon's legit. So if you held on or if you bought him low, like I advise you to, kudos to you, because I believe that's going to pay off big for you guys. Okay. If you see me looking down, I'm trying to get all these scores and stuff. This is new to me, guys. That's why I don't got no fancy setup or anything. I'm using the mic that I wrap in. I'm working on getting some more stuff, hopefully with your support. I mean, you guys have built this channel. Really, I mean, just being able to, you know, everything that you guys have supported me with, as you can see, those frames that I'm using right now, that's you guys who built this, because every penny I get goes back into the business, the lights, the mic. You guys paid for all this, so thank you very much. I just wanted to say that on a side note. So, yeah, Bengals, Joe Burrow, I'd be trying to target him. I think he's a QB1 the rest of the way. I love T. Higgins, who's a waiver wire pick. I think he could possibly be a wide receiver 3. Same thing with another wide receiver on the other side of the ball, Jacksonville. Talking about Laviska Shenault. He's gotten 10 points in 3 out of the last 4 games. So in this game alone, I probably only like 5 to 7 waivers this week. And this game has 2 of them. T. Higgins and Laviska Shenault, 2 second-round picks. I think both are legit. And we had 2 coming out parties. We had DJ Shark as well as Mixon, who came out and he looked, you know, DJ Shark is, you know, probably a top 5 talent. You know, I love his talent. Him, Terry McLaurin, these guys are the future of the wide receiver position in the NFL. So it was really nice to see him and Mixon break out. Minshew, I'm not really that sold on. His arm talent's not there. It's not every week he's going to face Cincinnati. Might have a decent floor just because, you know, they're going to be down a lot. They're going to be throwing it a lot. But talent is not quite there when it comes to Minshew. And, you know, this is all about the talent over everything network. All right. So moving on to the next game. Let's see here what I got. The Browns and the Cowboys. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Now, here's another popular waiver target who I'm not quite sold on, and that's Blaine Schultz. Let's face it, guys. Dallas has been in shootouts every single game. Not that that will stop, but it's also not, Dak's not going to be throwing for 500 yards every single game. And they're also not going to play Cleveland, the most generous defense against tight ends. Same goes for Atlanta, who they played the week before. So Blaine Schultz could be a thing, but I'm not exactly going out of my way and spending a priority waiver. Those waivers, we see how injuries are right now. They're valuable. They're valuable, and there's going to be injuries that continue, and people, because there's so many injuries, they're going to be dropping valuable players. So you're going to see guys like Madison drop, and that brings me to another point. This waivers, okay, it might be one of those situations that if you wait it out, the next day, you're going to see better players than what are available right now, because I think people are going to need to start dropping players, especially if they're in limited bench spots. If they don't have IR spots or limited IR spots, you're going to see owners get panicky and, get knee-jerk reactions, start dropping guys like J.K. Dobbins, but like Alexander Madison, like Zach Moss, and these are potential league winners. So imagine if you let's say, use the waiver on Blaine Schultz, and then somebody, due to a knee-jerk reaction, drops J.K. Dobbins. Yes, I'm still confident in J.K. Dobbins. This is not me and holding on to some foolish pride or anything like that. I'm not the counselor. It's just because I've seen how good he looks on film, and I see this every year that running backs start slow, and then they take off when they're given the opportunity. He just needs the opportunity. He's in a good offense, so you might get, so imagine if you use a waiver on Blaine Schultz, and then you're at the bottom of the waiver list, and then somebody drops J.K. Dobbins or Cam Akers or Zach Moss, these potential cuffs. Now, if you need desperate plays, like if you're, my bench right now, I didn't even start a kicker last week in one of my leagues because I can't drop any of these players, especially in a 20-team league. So you might be in a situation like that. But if you're thinking about rostering a backup tight end or a backup quarterback, in this landscape that we are, don't do it. Try to get as many of these stash backs. I know it's harder this year specifically than any other year, but you still want to stay the course, and that's eventually what's going to win you championships, okay? So save those waivers for potential league winners, all right? Cowboys, CD Lamb, he's legit. He's legit. Now, the matchup was there, but I definitely love me some CD Lamb. It's only upside from here on out. Dak looks amazing. The Browns, we'll get more into the buys and buy, hold, sells tomorrow, but OBJ played great. If you got him, I'm kind of foreshadowing. I'll probably sell him. I told you guys to sell him 2 weeks ago. And here's the thing, guys. Now, if you saw my buy low video 2 weeks ago, right? And then you sold him, like let's say you sold him before this big breakout game. A lot of people, it's funny, I see this all the time. They're like, well, I'll sell him after. I heard this with Drake a lot. And with Mixon, I'm hearing it now too. So this is a loser's mentality. Okay? It could work out. Like, let's say you waited to sell OBJ because you knew he was going against Dallas and now he blows up and you can get more, sure. But what if he throws a clunker like Drake did against Carolina, the easiest matchup? A lot of people were like, well, I'll sell Drake after this week. Well, guess what? This week didn't happen. He got 7 points. So now his value is even lower. So I'd rather sell a player, and miss out on that extra boost than wait. And then if he clunks or if he gets injured, then you get nothing. So just a little tip there, because remember, guys, this is the National Football League. You get players every single week, even in good matchups. Look at Calvin Ridley yesterday. Got 0 points, I think? So don't take anything for granted. All right. Saints and Lions. Galladay scored second straight week. He's somebody I would be buying, especially. Here's the thing, guys. There's 2 different ways to play fantasy football depending on what your record is and how you're doing. So if you're 4-0, 3-1, Kenny Galladay is a player you want to go after. Kenny Galladay is only upside, guys. 2 weeks in a row. I got about 16 points in each game, scored each game, and he's coming off a hamstring. It's only going to get better. Now he's got a full week to recover. Love Kenny Galladay. If you're leading right now, especially if more than likely the owner who has Kenny Golladay drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd round, so he might be struggling since Kenny Golladay still hasn't had 20 points. He's been injured the other 2 games. So he might be desperate, so you could probably get him on the low. And even if you take a L this week, we're not in the business of just, you want to win every week, but you also want to win that championship. And if you're 3-1 and you're 4-0, and even if it costs you an L, which I don't believe any one player does, it's going to keep you ahead of the game. So I would definitely go after Kenny Golladay and Chris Godwin, 2 players that I like moving forward a ton. Okay, we saw what Brady did, 5 touchdowns. And then the Saints, it's all about Kamara. Michael Thomas should be back soon. I don't want any other Saint, though, besides Kamara. And I'm still a little worried about Michael Thomas. If you could get him for cheap, I'm willing to risk it, but I'm not paying Michael Thomas first-round prices either. Seahawks and Dolphins. Okay, a lot of people are high on Myles Gaskin. The talent's just not there. I told you guys, at best, he's a flex. And even what should have been a shootout didn't really get much points. Metcalf's on fire. We saw Lockett do what Lockett does. A lot of people, that's why you can't overreact, guys. At a certain point in your career, you are who you are. Lockett, we've seen this from him before. He'll have some blow-up games, and the matchups were there. Like I mentioned, Atlanta. He played Miami. I forgot. He played some other sorry defenses first week. So, yeah, I like Metcalf more. And I should, what's funny? I was going to put him on my sell list last week, but I was like, I was thinking like you guys. I was like, maybe I should wait a week because it's going to look bad. He plays the Dolphins. He gets another 30 points, and then people are going to be coming for my head. But now, that's a perfect example of what I was saying earlier. I did it too. I took for granted it's the Dolphins, and boom, it backfired. Now Lockett is, you could still get good value for him, but it would have been a lot nicer coming off that 3-touchdown game, right? I think Fitzpatrick, he's on his way out. So if you're in deeper leagues, if you're in super flex leagues, make sure you start collecting on Tua because it's only a matter of time, guys. Fitzpatrick does this every year. He starts like a bat out of hell. He shows promise, and then he just turns into a pumpkin. So I don't see anything changing anytime soon. Preston Williams is an interesting name. I don't think you could add him right now, but he did suffer his ACL kind of late. Now, I'm not one of those people that say, well, it takes a whole year for ACL because look what Cooper Kupp did last year. He was fired right off the bat. He was coming off of ACL pretty late, too. He got in week 6 or 7, I think, the year prior. Might have even been week 10. I don't know. I'm just going off memory here. All my videos, guys, I don't plan to do anything. That's why I'm reading off my phone and just looking at the scores. I just know what I know, and I just go off the top of the dome. And believe it or not, I go back and watch my videos, and I don't even remember what I said because I'm just in flow. So, I don't know why I just said that, but yeah, Preston Williams is more of a name that he has some upside because I believe he has talent. I also believe that Devontae Parker could get injured. He has that type of history. So keep an eye on Preston Williams because, again, I always try to keep you guys one step ahead, but I'm not sure you could roster him right now with all the injuries that are going on. Now, another player, though, I do think is worth rostering still. A lot of people have been asking about him, been very busty, but, guys, pretty much every tight end has been a bust. When you got players like Jonnu Smith, and even he hasn't been, last week didn't really do anything, and he's had a beautiful schedule. But you got players like Tanyan and Blaine Schultz. Like, it's been a cesspool, but I do believe in the talent. I do believe in the upside. So be patient with Mike Gesicki. I like him more than some other tight ends that I was higher on, like Higbee, like Hurst, because they're just not getting the type of volume that I expected from them. So be patient with Mike Gesicki, especially if Tua comes in. Rookie quarterbacks tend to be a little safer. The playbook's a little dumbed down, and they usually do like leaning on the tight end. Irv Smith, tight end, when Tua played in Alabama, was quite, a target for him. So that's something to keep in mind. We went over Seattle. Carson, look good. We thought he might not play. Could be a sell high candidate based on his injury history, but as long as he plays, Carson's going to be fired because he does produce. Ravens and Washington. Lamar's back to a certain extent. Washington is a bad defense. That just goes to show they actually looked pretty good in the beginning of the year when they had Chase Young. They have not been the same defense without Chase Young. Marquise Brown, he's going to be kind of hit or miss. And what's unfortunate is the matchups have been there. Like every week he's had a good matchup and he still hasn't broken out. But here's the thing, guys. You got to keep players like that because of the talent and because you're not going to get, much for him. So why not keep him? You know what I'm saying? All right. Washington, guys, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. And I'm so mad at myself. And sometimes, I need to follow my own advice, but damn, Antonio Gibson against Baltimore, boy, it's a coming out party. And I think 99% of you guys who are watching this, or 99% of the guys who really are my supporters, probably have Antonio Gibson. But for the other 0.1% that doesn't, I wouldn't say it's too late because I still think people are not fully sold on what this guy could do. But guys, my first rap of 2020 season was Antonio Gibson. This was when what's this guy's name who likes to beat women? I forgot his name. This was before Darius Geis. This was before Darius Geis was even off the team. AP was on the team, Darius Geis. And I chose my first rap. Why would you do that? Why would you make the first rap? The first rap I did was Antonio Gibson when there was 4 running backs. People even thought Bryson Love was going to be a thing at the time. Because I saw this guy has the rawest of the rawest talent, and it seems like every single week he gets better. And to think, J.D. McKissick actually outsnapped him. You think that's going to last the whole year? It's not. It's not. So even if overpay, guys, Antonio Gibson is everything in a bag of chips. Okay. Terry McLaurin, guys. Wow. Again, he's somebody I would. He's doing against this with Haskins, against the Ravens, and they have nothing else, and he's still getting it done. Scott Turner, by the way, is a genius on the play calling because Haskins sucks, and he still finds a way to get. So yeah, I'm all in on Terry. And if you're in Dynasty, you give up the farm for Terry. I would give up like Michael Thomas or some shit. Like seriously, like I love those two players. It's funny because Washington could literally have like the 2 best talents at each of those positions. That's how highly I think of Terry McLaurin. I love him. J.K. Dobbins, I mentioned him earlier. It's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna happen because I just see this over and over again. It didn't take Nick Chubb didn't bust out his rookie year to like week 6 or 7. David Johnson, his rookie year didn't bust out to like week 14. I mean, yeah, nobody wants to hold somebody that long. But at the end of the day, you construct a roster the way I do it. I mean, not everybody has my paid content, so you don't really have the talent over everything formula. But those that do, and those who've been with me for a while, you win with home run hitters. So you just got to weather the storm. So this way, by year's end, you have that 3-headed monster. And believe me when I tell you, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor are going to be top 10 running backs. I'm not saying they're going to finish top 10, but by year's end, they're going to be top 10 as far as like weekly points that they get. So just be patient. Mark Andrews. I don't really say anything. I am concerned about Lamar, though. I do think it could be like, look, Lamar is going to be good, but his MVP year, that's what it was. Like, I don't see a repeat, and I do not see any growth from Lamar Jackson, unfortunately. And he's just missing. And that's the bad part about Hollywood is that Hollywood Brown is open, and Lamar's just missing. And I've never seen an inaccurate quarterback turn accurate. Okay. Because even Josh Allen, a lot of people, because I know that's probably what you guys were thinking, but I didn't see I saw a lot of drop balls. I saw receivers that weren't that great. Yeah, he overthrew some guys, But Lamar Jackson just like, he just misses people sometimes. And he's a one, and here's the hardest part about that. He's a one-read quarterback. And I've never seen anybody overcome that. He's in that category of Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick. They've been good. They've been elite. But guys, the NFL is a copycat league. It's, professionals are professional. Like, it's a hard league to be good at, guys. So, Lamar Jackson, I don't think it's going to get any better. And I just saw, Dominic, thank you for the super chat, because I'm actually not even watching the chat right now. Again, I'm trying to get used to this format right now. So I'm on this software called OBS. So I haven't seen any of the chats. I just looked now to make sure that the stream's still going. So I see it is. So I do like that. And I happen to see Dominic with the super chat. Thank you very much, Dominic. Okay, so moving quite along. I tell you guys this was going to be a long one because I really want to get in depth, because I think you guys need to really see where I'm coming from and really, learn to be patient and construct your teams. There's a certain style. You see, I don't know any other fantasy football analyst that has a style and a construction for a team. Like, they'll tell you who they like, who they don't like, but I have a certain formula that I've been doing over a decade that's never failed me. And even when it's injury proof, it's everything. Like, the guys who are in my program, like, I have this saying, you guys might be hearing it for this first time. If you don't have 6 running backs, you don't have none. So yes, I'll sacrifice some receiver talent, and sometimes our teams will start off slow. Okay? But now that all these teams are missing running backs and they're throwing guys out there like, I don't even know, like Mark Ingram's their RB1. I mean, most people in my Facebook group, they're stacked with, like, they already have Josh Kelly. They have Antonio Gibson, even though Jonathan Taylor. So they're still fine at running back. And you could always find receivers. You could always find receivers in matchups with high-scoring games that can produce for you. And then quarterback's obviously easy to find. And tight end, everyone's tight end is shit unless you started Tanyan, which was like, I actually started him in 2 leagues. But, you're only doing that in deep leagues, and that was what, like 5%? Or you had Kittle. And people were even weary about Kittle. I'm sure there's an owner out there that was scared because Kittle was coming back from injury that benched him. So those positions don't matter. The position that matters is the running back. And, we see it. Scotty Miller had a good game. You could got him off waivers. Who else? Tim Patrick. I mean, there's always receivers, unless you're in the deepest of deepest leagues. So, Cardinals and Panthers. Kyler Murray's another quarterback who hasn't looked that great. Like, that's 2 losses in a row. He's doesn't get much, air yards or yards per throw. He's doing everything in the run game. He also commits a lot of turnovers, but I mean, it's fantasy. You get paid, but I thought he was going to play better. I thought he would play better. Mike Davis has been a beast. Makes you kind of wonder, is Christian McCaffrey really that good, or is it the system? I think it's a little bit of both. Robbie Anderson's legit, by the way. He's legit because here's the thing, and it's funny. I've always been high on Robbie Anderson, like every single year, except this one. And the 1 year I'm not high on Robbie Anderson, he's balling out. So the reason I think he's legit, even though I do love DJ Moore, but I don't know. Robbie Anderson's getting more targets. And that's the thing, because the Jets, it just shows what trash Adam Gase and the Jets are, because they solely used him as a deep threat. And he's still primarily that, but he's getting a ton of targets. He's catching a ton of balls, and he's a damn good receiver, which is why I believe, remember, talent over everything. So it's not like a situation where he's not talented. It's not like Carolina, even though they've been playing better defensively, they're still going to throw a ton in that offense. So I like him. Some people like Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's okay. I think he could be a solid starter because, you know, he's efficient. He's not going to get you turnovers. He's in a throwing offense. He just doesn't have that huge upside some of these other guys have. But Teddy Bridgewater, if you need a quarterback, not bad. Who else we got? DJ Moore, I've been talking about him. I might as well talk about him now since I've been saying I still think, look, DJ Moore is not any worse. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to, truthfully speaking, I don't know. I still think DJ Moore could be the better receiver, but I also think there's a legitimate chance that Robbie Anderson, you know, might be the better guy. But I still like DJ Moore. I still think he'll play better than what he's playing, but I am starting to feel some doubt that he can be a top 10 receiver, which is what I thought he would be this year. Vikings, Texans. Adam Thielen. I told you guys to hold him last week, and here's why. He's still Adam Thielen. He's still the main guy. He's still got a ton of targets, but I'll tell you one thing. This guy, Justin Jefferson, is legit, guys. And I mentioned him on my raps. And it's funny, all the rookies where everybody was making fun of me, there's not a single rookie that hasn't looked good. Because you could say J.K. Dobbins hasn't produced. That's fine. But you can't say he's looked bad. Okay? Even Rager, the little bit of time he's played, looked good. Judy looks awesome. CD Lamb, amazing. Justin Jefferson has arrived. Like, there's not a single rookie. All the criticism I got from rookies, they all fucking look good. And I love Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook, make sure that you cuff him with Alexander Madison. Also make sure if Alexander Madison's on waivers or whatever, pick him up. If every running back is getting injured, it's funny about that. Every running back's getting injured, but the one that gets injured the most hasn't got injured, which kind of makes me think that it might be his time coming sooner than later. Same thing with James Conner, same thing with Chris Carson. And I don't wish anybody bad, but, I mean, if Saquon, CMC, Nick Chubb are getting injured, Kareem Hunt, by the way, I didn't really, I went through the Dallas game talking about so much about Blaine Schultz, and this is what happened, guys, since I smoked too much weed. I didn't even mention Nick Chubb and that whole backfield in the Browns. Who would have thought? You guys probably thought I did that intentional. It's probably like, rapper doesn't want to admit he's wrong and Chubb got injured and blah, 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 blah. Actually, it just slipped my mind, guys. And here's why. And I mentioned this in my Facebook group. I expect injuries to happen. When I do my rankings, I'm probably the only analyst that I know that factors that into his rankings. So that's why a lot of people will look at my rankings and they'll be like, these rankings are ass. Blah, 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 blah. But I expect. So when Nick Chubb got injured, I was happy. Rapper, no, you weren't. No, I was happy because he'll be back. Okay? I wasn't happy he got injured, but I was happy because he's not injured forever. Okay? And that's the thing that I dread the most. I know players are going to get injured. I factor this in. That's why I say if you don't have 6 running backs, you don't have none because they pretty much almost all get injured. Okay? So for me, it's not a big deal. But let's talk a little bit about that backfield. And I also get this. Somebody said the other day in my group, he was they were like, I know Rapper doesn't like Hunt. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Okay? I like Hunt. I do. I like him a lot. I just don't like him more than Nick Chubb. And I was right. Like, yes, Hunt had some big games, but he was getting like 35% of the snaps. The game script worked in his favor, and he got a couple of touchdowns, which helped pad his stats. Okay? So I do love Hunt, but I also didn't feel he was a must cuff. Why? Okay? Here's why, and I still don't feel that way, because people might be thinking, well, do you regret not cuffing Nick Chubb with Hunt? And here's why. I don't. Who did I get instead of Nick Chubb, or instead of Kareem Hunt? Kareem Hunt was going in the 5th round. You know who I got in the 5th round? DJ Shark. You know who I was telling people to get in the 5th round? Terry McLaurin. Like, those were my 2 targets in the 5th round. DJ Shark, Terry McLaurin. How'd that work out? Pretty good. Okay? So, just because I didn't cuff Chubb with Hunt, I cuffed him with J.K. Dobbins. Well, that sucks, rapper. For now. Antonio Gibson. Zach Moss. Was basically. Those are my 4th, 5th, and 6th running backs. Okay? So it was usually in my leagues, it was like Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, and then my 3rd running back, depending on the league, could have been, well, J.K. Dobbins. Some of you guys, some of them was Cam Akers, which I still think has potential. Who else was the 3rd? Mostert, Singletary, guys like that. So it's really just a bump up. So yeah, Nick Chubb, he gone. All right. Or some leagues, if you picked in the bottom, I was like, you know, do Nick Chubb with Josh Jacobs, or Josh Jacobs and Mixon, or something like that, or CEH, or something like that. So if you don't have Nick Chubb, then the next guy is Mixon, and then your next guy is Jonathan Taylor, and then your next guy is Gibson. You know, something like that. Okay? So, you see where I'm going with this, though? Most everybody that follows my content, if you picked early, you probably got Jonathan Taylor as your 2nd running back. If you picked late, you probably got him as your 3rd. So, if you went Chubb, Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, well, now they just bump up. Then it's Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, and you got Antonio Gibson. So, he's still cuffed. He's just not cuffed with his direct cuff. Now, yes, Kareem Hunt is going to be amazing, but you also have to factor in this, guys. Did I know Chubb was going to get injured? Chubb's never been injured. And even that injury, guys, it was a fluky play. Like, it happened, like, after the play, and he got his knee caught up. So it wasn't even, like, one of those injuries. You know what I'm saying? And I still got DJ Shark or Terry McLaurin, which is what, if you guys listen to me. Not everybody listens to me, but most people that are paid for my stuff, they paid and they listen. I have, like, 2 people that didn't listen. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why even pay for my stuff? You're not even follow it. So that's my logic. And we're still good. And we're still good because if you drafted Mixon, he's coming on. Sharp's coming on. Galladay was somebody big coming back. Godwin's coming back. So our teams are really going to take off because guess what is happening in week 5? Bye weeks. Guess what most teams don't have? Depth. Guess what I told Entourage to do? Get depth. Get running back depth specifically. So most of us are not even skipping a beat because we got Antonio Gibson super late. He's going to be a top 10 running back the rest of the way. Yeah. So anyway, as far as the Cleveland's backfield, I'm sure you're wondering about what's his name, Ernest Johnson. I do think Ernest Johnson could be a thing. Now I don't know if the reason he played so much was because of Kareem Hunt's groin, or whether Stefanski wants to keep that same type of, committee. Even people don't realize this, Minnesota kind of had a committee, not a full-blown committee, because Dalvin Cook still dominated the touches, but Alexander Madison, I believe, played over 30% of the snaps, and Cook had about 60 to 65% of the snaps. So it's not like Cook was CMC getting 90% of the snaps, or Barkley or anything like that. So I do think Ernest Johnson's worth a waiver, and he looked good, and that's part of the reason I like Chubb. You guys saw when Chubb left, they didn't skip a beat. Now, part of that's Dallas Cowboys, but still, the zone scheme is like Shanahan. Certain coaches, Gary Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Kevin Stefanski, it's a scheme thing. So if you put whatever running back is in these zone schemes, I want a piece of. Shanahan's had undrafted bag boys. Mostert was pretty much that. So was Jeff Wilson. So was whoever the hell they put in there. So I do think Ernest Johnson could be a thing. I do think he could be a flex right off the bat, especially in today's running back climate. And then Kareem Hunt, when they asked him after the game, how's the something, how's the groin or whatever, he's like, we'll talk about that later or something. He wanted to avoid the question. So I do think, Kareem Hunt everybody's high on Kareem Hunt. And I do think Kareem Hunt could be a top 5 running back easy. But if you have Kareem Hunt, I would still get Johnson, because now you're cuffing Kareem Hunt, because Chubb's going to be out for a while. 6 weeks is a long time. 6 weeks is a really long time. And actually, I hate to say this, if you could trade Chubb, I would trade him. If you don't have an IR spot, I would trade him. I would. Because 6 weeks, fuck, I can't hold somebody that long, especially if you have a standard. If you don't have an IR spot, you really do got to trade Chubb. It's going to be hard, though, but somebody, who's in first place, 4-0, 3-1, might take on Chubb. All right, Chargers and Buccaneers. Wow, Tom Brady. Another guy who was on my buy-sell hold. He was a hold for me. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't have started Brady. I don't have Brady in any leagues. I tried to get him in one league, got sniped. I wouldn't have started him against the Chargers. Well, depends on my options. Chargers have been, arguably the best secondary. And Tampa Bay's arguably been, the best defense. And both Tom Brady and Herbert went off. Obviously, Tom Brady went super off, 5 touchdowns. And with no Godwin against the best secondary, I think Evans even left a part of the game. Wow, 43 years old. I love Tom Brady before. I told you guys that when you're in a new team, in a new system, no matter how much talent you got, it takes time. It takes time. Even LeBron, when he joined the Heat, he had Wade, he had Bosch. They had a losing record or 500 for the first 20 games. There's a thing called chemistry. It's real. Boy, it's only going up from now, especially when he gets Godwin back, which is why I love Godwin too. And like I mentioned earlier, if you are in if you're in a position where you're winning right now, I would definitely go after Godwin, because he's not gonna get any cheaper, and he's gonna be fired. Top 5 easily, maybe top 10 the rest of the way. Top 10's his floor, and you could get him probably, fluff up a package. You give a couple names because people are stupid and they go for names. You could probably get Godwin for OBJ and throw in a bum. I don't know. So I love Godwin. I love Herbert. Herbert's the truth. I think Herbert and Joe Burrow can both be QB1s the rest of the way. Herbert, strong arm, weapons galore. He's got that it factor. This guy, he played both Patrick Mahomes, today's legendary quarterback, against yesterday's legendary quarterback, talking about Tom Brady. He played them both down to the wire. He's an athlete. He can move. He's got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and they got a pretty good running game still, even with Eckler. Here's the other backfield I know, everybody's wondering about. I do think Josh Kelly is the better of the two, but I also think Justin Jackson is worth a roster spot. And it wouldn't be surprising me at all if Justin Jackson ends up being the better back. He's got a 5-yard per carry average career. He's a better pass catcher, but he's also super injury prone. And Justin Jackson will probably be the goal line back and better equipped to be the all-purpose 3-down back. But it could be like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. 1 week is Justin Jackson, 1 week. So I do think they're both rosterable and worth a waiver pick. But I do like Joshua Kelly more. And a lot of you guys got him already. And he might be, he's probably not on any waivers of competitive leagues. So you might have to settle for Justin Jackson, but I think it's pretty decent, worth a waiver, especially in today's climate. What else? Scotty Miller, if you're in deeper leagues, I still think he could be a thing. There's some chemistry there. He's a big play guy too. People look at him because he's this small little white receiver. But he plays the outside, and he's more of a deep threat. He's not really like Edelman at all. So, yeah. Definitely missed on Mike Williams. I had a video on him on Instagram. Him and Brandon Cooks. Boy, Oh, yeah. I didn't even mention the Texans. I tell you guys to do that shit sometimes. But Texans, are they really worth mentioning? I mean, DJ, told you guys to get rid of David Johnson. I told you guys not to draft David Johnson. You guys don't freaking listen, man. So, yeah, David Johnson's trash bags. Tell you guys that. Brandon Cooks trash bags. I liked him for 1 week. I never liked Brandon Cooks in my life. I liked him 1 week. I was like, damn, well, Brandon Cooks pretty talented, you know? He's a boomer bust player. And he has those games where he goes off for 30 points. But Bill O'Brien, like Adam Gase, like Jason, just kills teams, man. Watson, yeah, I don't know. Didn't like him in the year. You guys, you know when I like a player, because I mentioned the same like 5 players over and over. When I don't mention somebody, it's either because I'm just indifferent or I just don't like them at all. Or there's players I hate. I also mention players I hate. You guys know who they are. David Johnson. I'm very clear about that. Giants and Rams. Here's something interesting. Talking about players I love and hate. I love Daniel Jones. I'm talking about coaches. Jason Garrett. I hated the Giants getting Jason Garrett, but I thought, you know, Daniel Jones got some weapons. They improved the offensive line. I thought the offensive line looks worse than ever. That's what Jason Garrett will do. But they do play the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm actually back on the Giants bandwagon, at least for this week. I do think, and here's the thing. Some of you guys, because I've been asked this, Rapper, is it time to drop Darius Slayton? So, this is what I'm saying. This might be the waiver wire, guys, that it's actually best to forego. If you're not getting Damian Harris or Justin Jackson, or pretty much if you're not getting Damian Harris, Joshua Kelly, Justin Jackson, more competitive leagues, Ernest Johnson, more competitive leagues, T. Higgins and Laviska Shenault if you need receivers. But if you're not getting any of those guys, I have a feeling owners are going to be dropping Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Darius Slayton. Pick them up, guys. I still believe in Darius Slayton. His talent is amazing. A great dynasty buy. And again, it's the Dallas. That's why I'm not sold on OBJ, because Dallas is just so trash. Like, they were trash before they even came into the year. And now they're like super trash because they got super injuries. Like, they lost their best corner, Byron Jones, to Miami. And then they lost their other corner. He's on IR. Cheedy, whatever the hell his name is. Owuzuke or whatever. So, yeah, I think the Giants could get back on track. So I've been asked, you know, should you use a waiver on a quarterback? No, because people are going to drop Daniel Jones. You could just pick him up for free and start him, at least for Dallas. So, and I do like Slayton. You know, even though he didn't do anything, sometimes I learn more about a player underperforming. And yes, he only got 7 points. But for me, 7 points against Ramsey and the Rams means more than 15 points against some bum defense. So Slayton, and he did it against Pittsburgh, he just looks the part. And I believe what I believe, and I go by what I see. A lot of people scoreboard watch. And Slayton, there will be better days, and he will be a wide receiver 3, possibly even a wide receiver 2 if the Giants can get their offensive line together. So I'm still a believer in Slayton because I've been getting a lot of questions about him. All right. Daniel Jones, at least for this game. But that's it. I'm not touching anything other than that on the Giants. The Rams, Cooper Kupp scored again. I said he would. Giants are bad against the slot. Robert Woods, I mean, he's about as safe as you could get. I like Cam Akers. Some of you guys, if Cam Akers is on your waiver wire, get him. Get him. A little disappointed. Daryl Henderson. I wasn't big on Daryl Henderson in general, but he looked really good. I was surprised that Malcolm Brown outsnapped him. That was very weird, and the matchup was there. So the lane is clear for Cam Akers. Now here, and that reminds me, I forgot to mention this. like I said, I'm freestyling, guys. Like, I don't plan this shit. I'm not reading off a teleprompter, so please excuse me if I'm jumping back and forth here, but it's important, so I don't want to forego anybody. You know, I don't want to forego this important information. I'm going to tell you guys, if you get nothing out of this video, I got 2 hacks for you that are going to win you your leagues. Listen the fuck up. Number 1. Looking right into the camera. Get Tampa Bay's backfield. Right now, Rojo, you could get him. Even though he's coming off a good game, people are not sold. He's not the clear guy. He's not the pass catching back. People fear Leonard Fournette. Okay, on the flip side, you can say the same thing about Leonard Fournette. Rojo just had a good game. He's injured. He might not play. If you guys can secure these 2 backfields that are super cheap, that feature 1 running back, it's going to happen, guys. I've been doing this 20 plus years. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Okay? One of those guys is going to break out. And when they do, whether it's Rojo, whether it's Leonard Fournette, I'm willing to bet it's Fournette, but because they're both cheap, just get both. Same thing with Rams. That's the way McVay plays. Yeah, he's splitting now because Malcolm Brown and Henderson, but get Henderson, who's super cheap. Get Akers. And you can get 2 top 10 running backs for pennies on the dollar. It's the best way to improve your team because that's 2 potent offenses that are going to score a lot of points. And once we get the lead back, you got a top 10 running back. And in the case of Fournette, in the case of Akers, Akers is a great pass catcher. He could be elite. And Fournette's a pretty good pass catcher as well. And they're going to score a lot of touchdowns. So whoever's the lead back is going to get a lot of points. That's the hack, guys. That's the secret sauce. Because you can get both players. So we don't have to play the odds. We don't have to play guessing games. It's not going to be Malcolm Brown, guys. Okay? Do that. Okay. So, now back to the games. I'm jumping all over the place. Colts and Bears. This is another player, obviously, super high on. I'm getting questions. Rapper, are you worried about Jonathan Taylor? First of all, guys, you're pissing me off with this bullshit. Am I worried? No, I'm not fucking worried about fantasy football. You know what I'm worried about? How the fuck I'm going to eat. If I'm going to get enough support so I could fulfill my dreams and not have to go work a stinking 9 to 5. I'm worried about that. I'm not worried about fantasy football. Because, A, I have a proven formula. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't plan out, next man up. But here's the thing, guys. So please, eliminate that word from your vocabulary. Worry. Worry is negative energy. It's fearful. It's just, Rapper, so many people say it. It just irks me. Are you worried? Am I worried? A lot of you guys were worried about Mixon. What happened? A lot of you guys, after 1 week, should I drop Tyler? But you guys, I don't think you realize how difficult it is to play in the National Football League. We saw with Calvin Ridley yesterday. Rapper, are you worried about guys? Players have bad games. And you know what? If a defense wants to take any particular player out of a game, they can. They can. They could stack 8 to 9 players and take Jonathan Taylor out of the game. They could double, triple team Calvin Ridley and take him out the game. It happens, guys. It's the National Football League. We saw New England shut Mahomes down for a half. It happens. Okay? So, no, I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. And I mentioned to you guys this as well. There's a thing called game flow. Okay? And Colts were up the whole game. Chicago wasn't scoring. So be grateful with all the injuries that we've seen that coaches are actually trying to preserve your players, because I want my players there to be there at the end, which is why I'm so particular about players and why I totally disregard injury players. injury-prone players because I need guys that are going to be. I'm not trying to get the best record or make the play. I'm trying to win a championship. So there'll be better days. Jonathan Taylor is still young. He's still rookie. He's still learning. So no, I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. If you don't have Jonathan Taylor, you find an owner that does, go get him. Same thing with Montgomery. Because follow the volume. And even though Jonathan Taylor split snaps stuff, he was still the lead dog. There'll still be, days where people, but damn, that Colts defense looks legit. I don't even know how. Like, it's not like they have studs. Like, they lost Malik Booker, their safety. I mean, they got what's-his-name from the 49ers, and they got Leonard. Those are, like, the only two known players. Kenny Moore's okay on the slot, but they're just playing out of their mind. So, no, in answer to your question, not worried about Jonathan Taylor. Okay? And go get him. If you don't have him, or go. He's like Gibson. Most of you guys do. Next. Like I mentioned, Montgomery, Allen Robinson, Love. Now that Foles there, even, against a tough matchup, he got some cheap points there at the end of the game, so you got to love that. I would definitely buy him. He's going to be probably like a top 5 wide receiver rest of the way. That's basically it on that game. Not a whole lot. Mo Alley Cox got some potential, especially how bad the tight end position has been, but he's not getting the snaps, but he's doing the most. So I do think it's one of those situations where, like a lot of running backs, he's still young. This guy I don't even think played college football. He was a basketball player, so he's still really raw. So he's the type of player that can keep getting better as the season goes along, and he is worth, a roster spot, especially at the type of tight end climate that we are currently in. Bills and Raiders. Josh Allen's on fire. Diggs, one player anybody I do a rap about, unless I tell you stay away, because I do stay away Saturdays, I really like Diggs, and he's paying dividends for a lot of you guys. So I do think he's a top 10 wide receiver the rest of the way. I said it, give a guy with that type of big play ability to Josh Allen with his arm, and yeah, all of a sudden, it's amazing how Josh Allen gets Diggs. All of a sudden, he's accurate. Diggs is amazing. Kirk Cousins is holding him back. Singletaries look really good, man. Singletaries look really good. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on the situation you're in, Zach Moss will be coming back soon. Zach Moss is a potential league winner. Singletary has an injury history. Remember, guys, too, as the weather cools, the running games become more prevalent. Also, we didn't have off season, we didn't have preseason, so the offense, even traditionally speaking, is ahead of the defense. It's just like baseball, the hitters are ahead of the pitchers, but then the pitchers start warming up, and then same thing happens in football. So all these high scoring games eventually are going to come down. Running games are going to become more important, so I do think there's a lot of upside for Zach Moss. Don't drop him. This guy, Gabriel Davis, looks legit. Good dynasty ad. Could be, relevant too, in PPR, deeper leagues, but looks good. Doing a lot, especially for a rookie. Raiders, Josh Jacobs. It's funny how everybody was on that bandwagon, and I like Jacobs too, but I mean, like, everybody's just going, they were just too much, when he had that big game against Carolina. But I do think there'll be better games for Jacobs. I do. They're missing their deep threat, so it's easier for defenses to hone in. But I do think Ruggs, when he comes back, when Bryan Edwards comes back, that's going to help Waller and Jacobs quite a bit. Eagles, big win against the 49ers. Jerick McKinnon, still not sold. Mostert will be back. Same thing with Ayuk. I don't think he's worth a waiver. It's a running team. He's not going to be even second or third, maybe not even fourth on the pecking order. That's going to be Kittle, then Debo, and then maybe a running back, and then maybe Ayuk. So I'm not really – it was a nice leap, but he's just – and Jimmy's not that great a quarterback, which is the other reason. So I'm not really going out of my way to get Ayuk, especially in redraft. Maybe Dynasty, but even that, as long as Jimmy's there and them being a running team, I'm not entirely sold on him. Philly, you might want to get Alshon Jeffrey as a stash. I'm not a Jeffrey guy, but, because he's injury prone, but he's got the injuries out of the way, and he has produced in the past, and he just don't have much. keep your eye on Jalen Reagor. I still think he's going to do big things this year. Other than that, Miles Sanders, I was a little weary. I was less high on him than other analysts. Every play it looks like he's about to get injured. I would definitely cuff him with Boston Scott if you can. I know in today's climate with so many injuries that might not be possible, but not crazy about Miles Sanders. I think he's a good player. I think he's very talented, but the injuries, the offense as a whole is bad. The offensive line is bad. Carson Wentz might be better days. He is giving you a pretty decent floor with his rushing, which I kind of like because it shows that he's past the injuries, because for the last 2 years he wasn't rushing at all. So I do think Carson Wentz is going to be one of those players that you want to have for the second half, but this week he plays Pittsburgh with no O-line, no receivers. Greg Ward is pretty decent. Whoever, if it's Jeffrey or Ward, one of them ball's got to go somewhere, so they'll give you some decent points. But again, those are deeper leagues. Their upside's going to be capped. Chiefs, Patriots, Damian Harris. Most of you guys should already have Damian Harris. I mean, guys, I've been talking about this guy till I'm blue in my face. I drafted him pretty much every league. I've been having him on my R spot. I've been telling you guys about Damian Harris since like April. And why? Again, it goes back to the injuries. Injury-prone players are injury-prone players. Sony Michel, it was just a matter of time. I said this. Lo and behold, on IR, Damian Harris looked really good. Really good. And think about this, guys. They have Brian Hoyer and bum-ass Stidham, both were bums, as their quarterback. Chiefs been good against the run. Still had 100 yards. Cam's going to be great for him. My comparison, I told you guys, I do think his upside, I don't think he's an RB1. I don't think he's a league winner, but I think he could be a solid RB2. I compared him to Jonathan Stewart. Good RB2 for Carolina, got the job done, had some big games. But that read option is going to be hard to stop. So Cam is going to help him tremendously. Yes, a lot of people are like, messy backfield. I don't believe in messy backfields. There's always going to be two major running backs on every team except if you're Carolina and CMC and Barkley, whatever, and Zeke. Okay? So you got a pass catching back, a third down back, and a primary ball carrier. Damian Harris is the primary ball carrier. He's going to get the most red zone goal line touches. So I like him. RB2 with Cam. You got to focus. Pick your poison. So he's my number one waiver. Chiefs are Chiefs. CEH, don't worry about him. He's gonna go nuts. CEH is my ultimate buy right now because the fact that he hasn't got 20 points and he's one of those players that could go on a tear where he's just averaging 30 points a month, 25. Like, it's gonna happen. I promise you, it's gonna happen. CEH, if you got him, hold him. If you don't, try to trade for him. Tyreek, whatever. Miko Hardman actually is an interesting name. It looks like he's an ascending player. And think about this, guys. Again, injuries. Sammy Watkins gets injured every year. He hasn't yet. So he's already doing more with Sammy in the lineup. And then if something happens to Tyreek, he becomes Tyreek. So Miko Hardman, he's somebody I would be looking at. He is somebody I would be looking at. So if he's available, he might be worth an ad for you guys. And then Falcons, Packers. Don't buy the Tonyan hype. Guys, Atlanta's just horrible defensively, and especially, I mean, they're just like, if you watched the game yesterday, like, it's not like he did anything amazing. He's just wide open. He's just literally just wide open, and Atlanta sucks. So don't get crazy. Don't start dropping Mike Gesicki for Tonyan. Plus, he's got a bye. No, the Packers, once Adams comes back, is going to be business as usual. Adams in there. And by the way, oh my God, Matt LaFleur is so good. Jamal Williams, I will say this. I thought Jamal Williams was horrible. And he was. He just looked bad. But I don't know what, like, usually, and I heard this, they were like, Jamal Williams looks explosive. When I heard that, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, Jamal Williams sucks, like anybody. But he actually did look explosive. Like, some people got him on their waiver wire. I'm still a little hesitant. I don't like players where it's like they don't get a lot of touches and they just don't have much upside. So yeah, he could probably get you 8 points every day, but that's not fun. So, but he has looked good. I don't have Aaron Jones in any leagues, but it's frustrating just watching because if I did have Aaron Jones, he's just so good. Definitely top 5 to 10 talent-wise. And it's weird. It's almost like what they do with Joe Mixon, Zach Taylor. It's like they treat these guys like they're not pass catchers. Like, he is a good pass catcher. He's probably better than Jamal Williams, even though Jamal Williams has that role. So, yeah, I don't really try to answer chats, but as I was making sure that the live's still going, somebody did ask a good question. Would I trade Josh Jacobs for CH? And the answer is yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's annoying. Just got to that's how you know it's annoying when you're not even a Jones owner and you get frustrated just watching. He's just so good. He's just so good. I love it. And a nice guy, man. So Packers, Ridley, don't worry. Julio, I told you guys to sell him. Looks like he re-aggravated his hamstrings. 31, guys. That's why I told you, don't pick him and the first, top of the second. Rather go with a safer player. Lo and behold, what's happening? I'd rather get rid of a player a year early, and I was off. I told you guys stay away from Julio last year, and until Ridley got hurt, he didn't take off. He was a wide receiver too. Then he had a soft schedule. No Ridley, no Hooper. What do you expect him to do? He went off. But don't worry about Ridley. Don't worry about Ridley. I would worry a little bit about Hurst, and here I am not taking him out worried. I hate that word, and I'm using it. See what you guys made me do. But I am a little concerned about Hurst. I did think he would get a lot more volume, and he's not. I'm not dropping him. I don't think I would even take Tanyan or Blaine Schultz over him, but I expected more. I did expect more. Dirk Cotter has made worse tight ends produce more. So there is a possibility he turns it around because he's a new offense. He's never been the guy. But now I'm starting to think, okay, maybe this is why he wasn't the guy. Because he was like a first-round pick or top of the second. So, a little concerned about Hurst. Not concerned about Ridley. Who else? Gurley, obviously, I don't like Gurley. It's just a matter of time. Sell high. But I can't put him on my sell high list every game. Those touchdowns bailed him out. You know, that'll happen. But don't get it twisted, guys. Get rid of Gurley. He just doesn't fit. Brian Hill's not great cup either. He's not a league winner. Like, if something happens to Gurley, it's not like I'm excited about Brian Hill because talent's limited. The way Atlanta uses their backs is limited. It'll probably be a committee, so it's not like I'm crazy about Brian. I'm fading that whole back there. And then Green Bay, a lot of people are on MVS. You saw, if you guys, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Like, I'm not saying it to get followers. I mean, it would be nice, but I literally touch on every single thing. Every news that passes by, I comment on it. And when you don't see me comment on somebody, like a lot of people, you know, were stating the obvious. Well, you know, Adams is out. MVS, Lazard. You didn't see me mention it. If it's something really important, you better believe I'm going to go out of my way. Like this video, look how long this fucking video is. I don't know how long have we been on here. But it's really important what I'm saying in this video. I'm curious to see how long this shit is because I'm getting hungry. Anyway, MVS I didn't mention because he's a deep threat, and I know that if he doesn't get a bomb, he doesn't get anything. He's not that type of receiver that commands a lot of volume. So, and that's it, man. So it's all about Adams and Jones and Matt LaFleur fucking over Aaron Jones, but whatever. And that concludes this. So, quick recap, because I kind of, you know, mentioned the waivers in with doing a recap. Only players, which you should already have. My number one is Damian Harris, Josh Kelly. Justin Jackson's also worth it because he's got talent. And Josh Kelly had some fumbles. Ernest Johnson, you know, Kareem's a little banged up. That running offense does have enough work for 2 running backs. We look good. I like T. Higgins. I like Chenault. And then, to a lesser extent, Hardman. But the main takeaway I want you guys to get, and I don't even know your leagues, but I'm just good at predicting shit because I've been doing this 20 years and I know how owners think. I have a feeling a lot of owners are going to be dropping players like J.K. Dobbins, Darius Slayton, maybe Cam Akers, maybe Zach Moss. I rather get those guys and save my way there because I like all those guys better than this current waivers. Now, maybe Josh Kelly being the exception, but he's not even available in a lot of leagues. So, but I like all those guys, Dobbins, Slayton, Zach Moss, better than, Ernest Johnson or Justin Jackson or T. Higgins or Laviska. So I like Laviska Shenault a lot because he's super safe. Like, he's gotten, 10 points into double digits, and that could go up because rookie receivers usually, we've seen it. You saw A.J. Brown didn't take off till last year to the second half. Same thing with Debo. Same thing with a lot of these guys. So, it's all upside from here on out for T. Higgins and Laviska Shenault. So I do think they're worth it, but, you want to be smart. And those waivers are important. Use them unless you really need them. Like I mentioned to you guys before, if it's not a starter or a potential league winner, something you're desperate, you got to use waivers because you're just so decimated by injuries, you're in deeper leagues, whatever. But if you're in normal leagues, hold on to those waivers. Don't use them for just anybody. Okay. And another guy to keep an eye out is Anthony Mcfarlane, which you should be able to get him for free. But again, I know, we only have so many roster spots, and with all these injuries, it's messing everybody up. So you might not be able to hold Anthony Mcfarlane, but just somebody to keep an eye on. As always, guys, if you have any questions, comment down below. If you're interested in the premium content, I'll leave a link for that, or just email me, fantasyfootballrapper@gmail.com. It's 4 emails a week. That's what I'm going to do as soon as I get off this. I'll be sending a waiver wire article. Tomorrow you'll have a complete list of my buy, sell, hold, trade list, Thursday rankings, Saturday updated rankings. Also, if you guys want to show love, Patreon's just $1 a month to sponsor a rapper, or you can hit me up with a super chat. It's much appreciated, guys. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, and again, these frames, I had to pay somebody to do that. I'm not a graphic designer. These lights, this mic, all this costs money. Like, the only money I have is to eat. Like, I don't go out. I don't have a social life. I'm investing in everything in my dream. So, I do appreciate you guys built this. Like I said, that's why I call this Entourage. Like my podcast, which I'm launching too, very excited about that, is called Entourage because this is built by us, for us. This is the community. I love you guys. Until next time. Peace. I gotta get an outro now. That reminds me.